What's going on, guys? In this video you're getting ready to watch, it's a group coaching call that I did last night for my group coaching program training camp. Inside the program, I put out workout and nutrition plans as well as doing live coaching calls and a lot of other cool stuff. The first 25 members can join for free, and that is still available right now. So if you're interested, go ahead and claim your spot in the description box below and enjoy the video. The topic is 5 keys to winning at life. What's going on, guys? Here's our group coaching lesson for today. Today's topic, we're going to go 5 keys to winning at life. Obviously, there are more, but these are 5 I really wanted to hone in on right now. I think these are some of the biggest ones. So let's get right into it. So what exactly is my definition for winning at life? For me, winning at life is achieving your own personal standard of what is desired and the key elements of life, and then progressively improving upon those. So basically that means for you understanding what it is exactly that you want, your own standard, and then once you achieve that, that's major, but it's mainly more about the process of getting there, because once you get the thing, typically you're looking to improve. Even if it's something like a relationship, maybe you get the girl and you're happy about it, but then you get to the point where you want to take the relationship to a next step. Maybe you want to get married, or you want to have kids. You want to progress that relationship in some way, even if it just means becoming better lovers or more intimate, or just having her treat you in a certain way that you prefer. You're always still looking to improve upon that, and that growth is part of winning at life. So what are the keys? These are the 5 keys I had: goal setting, focus, discipline, preparation, and process mindset. Obviously, we are going to get into those in more detail here in just a second. So these are the primary areas of life that I break down. To me, the primary areas of life, I always say, if you get these areas right, the odds of having a happy life are astronomically higher than if you don't have them. Even if you have 2 out of 3 of the ones that don't have the asterisk next to them, you're going to be very happy, but that's one area of your life you're lacking, and it is going to hinder you. So what have we got here? We've got health. So health for you, this isn't just lifting weights. It's about taking care of your internal health. It's about your mental health. It's about your diet, and it's about your own personal decision about health. Do you want to be a runner? Do you like lifting weights? Do you want to lift heavy? Do you want to do CrossFit? All these different things, but different ways. Essentially, having a health practice and being in healthy shape. You just don't want to be sitting around on your ass. You don't want to be fat and things like that. You're not going to be maximally living your life if you're completely out of shape. Next one, we've got finances. Some people want to be millionaires. Other people want 100K a year. Some people want to be billionaires. Having your own standard on that, on how much money do I want, where do I want it coming from, do I want to be a business owner? If so, do I want to run an entrepreneurial business online, like a digital nomad and travel the globe? Do I want to run like a major Fortune 500 company, or do I just want to be like a manager in my company that I'm working at now? Whatever it is. Intimate relationship, I put intimate relationship instead of just sex partners, because to be honest, a bunch of cheap sex that's not a primary area of life that's going to make you happy or make you win at life. Like, I know our society wants to make out like that's some huge deal to have sex with a bunch of women that makes you a man or something. And fine, like, I'm not saying don't go do it. If you want to go do it, have fun at it. You'll figure this lesson out for yourself, though, that at the end of the day, it's pretty meaningless, and that a real connection is worth, what was it, the Kanye line? One good girl's worth 1,000 bitches. That shit's facts. So I put intimate relationship on here because having one of those is a lot more important. Spiritual connectedness and self-awareness, those have asterisks next to them because they're a little bit different, because they're less they're less measurable. You can tell you have a good intimate relationship based on how the relationship's going, or if you even have one to begin with, and your finances, if they're in the right direction, or your health. Spiritual connectedness is more intuitive. For me, that can be whatever your practice is. For me, like I said, I meditate. It gets me very centered in the moment. I visualize. I can get more in tune with my own spiritual essence of myself. I do certainly believe in that. I do believe in God. I do pray. I don't necessarily believe in any any specific religion at this point, but I certainly believe in God, and I certainly believe He will talk to you if you reach out to Him. And I think having that connection gives you a lot of faith in in the possibility for your life. Gives you a sense of freedom. It gives you a feeling that someone's got your back, and that's huge. And it's also just gonna increase your intuition and things like that. Self-awareness. By that I mean essentially self-discovery is probably a better term for it. But essentially getting to know yourself, understanding your motives, understanding what drives you, understanding what you're subconsciously doing and watching in your life. If you're not familiar with the shadow, Carl Jung's work on the shadow, you should learn about that. The shadow is essentially, it's the part of your personality that you don't like to admit you have. So a good example of the shadow is if you thought about Nazi Germany. If you were thinking about World War II and you imagined yourself in World War II, you would most likely see yourself, like, let's say you were a German, or you were just you were in France or something like that. You would have most likely pictured yourself right now as some good guy who wasn't a Nazi, who was against the Nazis, who was maybe saving the Jews or whatever. But statistically speaking, the odds are very high that you would have been a Nazi if you were in Germany, because almost all of the Germans were Nazis. So the point of the shadow is essentially that's something you're not happy admitting to yourself. It's hard to admit to yourself that you could be evil and a Nazi or an Auschwitz camp guard or something like that. But understanding that part of your personality exists, and then knowing how to deal with it, because if you're not aware of this stuff, it lashes out in different areas. So if you have patterns in your life that consistently unfold that are negative, there's probably something subconscious that you haven't brought to the surface and become aware of, that's a part of your personality that is trying to express itself. And once you get it under control, you can control it better. A good example of this, a more practical example of this, is if you struggle with being assertive and aggressive in situations. A lot of times nice guys who claim to be they act like they're harmless and nice, they're really the guys who will stab you in the back. And the reason being is because they haven't integrated their aggression. And the reason they haven't integrated their aggression is because they think that it's virtuous for them to be weak. So they deny the aggressive part of their personality, but they're the ones who talk shit about you behind your back. They're the ones you got to watch out for. The guy who tells you straight to his face what he thinks, you can trust. The guys who won't, you can't trust. That's part of self-awareness. Getting good with that part of yourself, understanding these different aspects of yourself. I consider that a primary area of life, because you can't have a happy life if you're not self-aware. All right, so the first one of the steps here, it was goal setting. I talk a lot about goal setting. We're going to get into it a little more here. Essentially becoming clear on what you want as the standard. So we were talking about standards. Well, now you got to get clear on the standard. So if, like we were talking about with money, maybe your money standard is $10K a month. All right, that's the standard. Now, one thing I have down here is remove frills. The goal should be grounded in a real desire. Okay. Now, these goals are going to change over time, obviously. But maybe you're living in your parents' house and you don't like it, and the goal is an apartment of your own. Well, how much money gets you there? That's the real driver, okay? Not, I want 10 million a year. Yeah, everybody wants 10 million a year or more, something crazy like that. And I'm not saying you can't do it, but if it doesn't really have anything backing it up that you are really fired up to get, it's not going to be the driver. All right, you got to get clear on what the driver is. If the driver is, I want my own apartment, maybe $4,000 a month gets you that. Maybe the goal is, I want to see my abs because I'm going to the beach in 3 weeks. All right, that's the goal. If you said, I want the goal to be 225 pounds chiseled, well, it's a little more detached and it's different. So getting clear on what the real goal is and why it's there, what the grounding motivation is, to get rid of the frill. Everybody likes to set these huge goals, and that's fine, but you should have a really good reason why you want them, or you're just not going to chase them. Establish the direction and then live in the present moment, taking action as necessary. So you get clear on what it is, and then you live in the present and do what you can in the moment. You can't focus on the long term. You got to focus on what you're doing right now, because a lot of people, they tend to think about step Z, and then they get overwhelmed with step A, and then they completely forget about B through Y in the middle. Like, there's a process here. Just focus on what you got to deal with right now, and and establish the goal, and then forget about it almost. Once the goal is established, create the best plan you can and improve upon it with time. So what I mean by this is you're going to set the goal and then you're going to say maybe, well, I don't exactly know how I want to go from like maybe you're trying to lose 20 pounds. All right, well, I don't know exactly how to do that. So I'm going to set the goal and then I'm going to figure it out. So I'm going to go do some research. I'm going to see what diets work. I'm going to see, all right, how do I diet? How do I train? And over time, you're going to figure out what works better for you, what works, what doesn't work for you. You know, I've tried different things in fitness and I've thrown them out. I've tried a lot of exercises one time, and I was like, I don't really like that. I threw it out. I've tried different diet ideas. I didn't really like it. I threw it out, you know, and just refining and figuring out what you like. So here's goal setting in action. So let's say you want to bench 250 pounds and you currently bench 135 pounds. So the goal is set, and your daily action is to hit your macro numbers. So your fats, your proteins, and your carbs, get those numbers in the right spot, and then to work out based on research you did to find the right program that'll get you to your goals. So maybe you're focused on a strength training program if your primary goal is to get to that 250-pound bench. All right, next thing we had was focus, the ability to tune out what is not part of your desired reality. So this isn't to say you ignore things, but you just don't give them more energy than necessary. A part of this is what this says here: understanding the difference between what you can control and what you can't control. When I was driving back home, I stopped into a restaurant and I happened to see on the news that Goldman Sachs, the bank, was predicting massive layoffs based on this coronavirus situation. They're predicting massive layoffs, and I saw it. My first reaction was to be a little negative, you know. I was like, crap, like, I mean, this doesn't sound good. Then I realized, first of all, I can't do anything about it, so why am I fretting about it or using any of my mental energy on something I can't control? Second of all, I'm just going to ignore that because, you know, half the companies on the Fortune 500 were started during recessions or depressions or right after them, okay? So this idea that the circumstances have to be perfect for you to thrive is not true. Most people actually start in adverse conditions and overcome them. So just ignore facts like that. It's irrelevant to your situation. You can't control it, and it does not help you get to your desired objective. Focus and practice. Let's say you're in an intimate relationship and your desire for that is you want commitment. You know, you don't want to, I mean, obviously you don't want cheating in a relationship. Have genuine respect and trust for each other in the relationship. You want her to respect you as a man, and you know, eventually maybe I'll start getting more into the topics of like how to go about those kinds of things. Typically I avoid that subject some, mainly because I think everybody's got this cookie cutter thing they want to put dating into, or relationships, and people are people, and yeah, there's a lot of things that are important that you can learn, but a lot of times you know, I think a lot of it comes, people start playing this manipulative game type of deal. I think it really just comes down to be good with you so that you can treat others right. You know, if you're scared or insecure inside yourself, you're not going to treat your partner right. But that's that's off topic. Anyways, so you're failing to focus on your desire if you're spending time watching pornography, you're going to strip clubs, or you're just failing to be the man you need to be in the relationship. So as a man, you need to step up. You need to lead the relationship. You need to be financially secure. You need to be a real man. Obviously, you need to be a protector. You can't be being a little bitch to your girl. You know what I'm saying? And if you're failing on all that, then your focus is off. You got to get focused on what it is and remain focused. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have both been asked the most important key to their success. They said focus. Just focus. You got to laser focus. Everyone's distracted. Social media is a distraction. I should have put that one on here as the focus and practice. Honestly, cutting out distractions. That's the same as focusing. Discipline. Discipline is greater than motivation because motivation will wane. You know, everybody's got motivation on January 1st, and then by January 14th, they're out and they've made 100 excuses why it's not going to work out for them. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done with or without motivation. If you don't have the motivation to get up in the morning, you still get up in the morning. If you don't have the motivation to go to the gym, you still go to the gym. You got to train discipline into yourself. And on top of discipline, you can do something, false motivation. It's something I actually do this a lot. I didn't even really know it had a term for a while until I heard Jocko Willing talk about it, but I've always kind of done it. False motivation is when you kind of just spin the difficult task. So let's say you got a workout ahead of you that you're not looking forward to. You can bitch and complain about it, or you could be like, this shit's gonna suck. Let's fucking get after it and like get hype about it. And it changes the whole way it works. You can throw false motivation in there as well. Basically, you got to do what you must be done, whether or not it feels easy. Consistent discipline over time is going to bear fruit. Like if you're focused on your money right now and your discipline is I'm going to put 10% away every month, well, over time you're going to have a big savings account, and the guy who was being an idiot is not going to have that. Discipline and action. Let's say you've got a morning routine that ensures you are the most effective you can be. All right, you're getting up on time, hitting the shower, you're hitting the gym, whatever it is. The alarm goes off, you're running on 4 hours of sleep, you get up anyways and you get after it. There's no excuses for that. I mean, sometimes it's tough, and I'm not saying if you don't have a good reason to sleep in, don't sleep in, but you should, the night before you go to sleep, establish when you're going to wake up based on what you need to get done for the day, and then set the alarm accordingly. And maybe it does just end up requiring that you miss sleep. Well, you can sleep later in the day, you can catch up on it, but you got to be disciplined. You can't sacrifice the things that have to get done because you're feeling lazy and you want to sleep. All right, preparation, the fourth one. Prepare for the worst case scenario. The coronavirus, great example of that. I got caught red-handed. I wasn't prepared. In my lifetime, nothing seriously bad had happened like during my mature lifetime that I was consciously aware of. There was 9/11 when I was very young, the '08 market crash when I wasn't very aware of this type of stuff, and now there's this. And this is the first time it ever, honestly, I mean, like, obviously, things are going to go bad eventually, but this was the first time in my life that it ever occurred to me, oh shit, things aren't just going to be perfect, and so I was caught off guard by that. I'll be perfectly honest. A lot of people were caught off guard by that. It's not going to happen again, I'll tell you that much. So prepare for the worst case scenario. You got to be prepared for things like that. That's part of being a man too. Imagine if you had a wife and kids and suddenly shit hit the fan and you just froze up in the corner. You weren't prepared. Maybe, even something small, the power goes off for 2 days and you have no clue what to do. You haven't even thought about it. The food's melting in the freezer, power's out for the whole city, no one knows what to do. Are you just going to panic, or are you prepared? You got to be prepared, and that doesn't mean you have like a bunker like some doomer, but it does mean just be prepared for worst case scenarios. Think about these things because they will happen. Murphy's Law, what can go wrong will go wrong. So make a plan, but have expectation. This is another part of preparation, aside from preparing for negative situations, is to make a plan, but have the expectation it'll need to be amended. So you got to prepare for things. Obviously, if you don't prepare, then you're going to be a chicken with your head cut off when you run into situations. This was a flaw I made in business early on, is I made very little preparation. I would have a great idea in my head, I thought, and I wouldn't even consider why it could go wrong, and then I would jump full speed into it, and it wouldn't work right, and I'd be all confused about why, and so I didn't prepare. I didn't think about anything. I didn't prepare for the worst case scenario either. So make a plan, expect that it's probably going to be wrong in some way, but just a plan of some sort is better than no plan, and then just amend along the way. Preparation allows obstacles to become opportunities too. So if you were prepared for a market crash, then you have the opportunity to invest your money into the market, and you could triple your money while everyone else is running scared. If you prepared for the power to go off, maybe you have a generator at your house, or maybe you have enough food at your house that's not perishable so that everybody can eat fine. Failure to prepare will cost you your relationships, your finances, your health, and it can even cost you your life. I'm going to be totally honest. I guarantee you some people are going to end up committing suicide because of this virus situation, because of the panic that everyone has created, all the fear running around. Mostly, I'm about convinced at this point this is 90% fear-based, and it's not even that big of a deal, but that's just my opinion. But I'll say, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, they're going to lose their savings, they're going to lose serious things, and they're going to end up committing suicide over this shit. Failure to prepare is no joke. You got to be prepared. Most of the people watching this are probably fairly young, so you've probably got people older than you who can kind of buffer you if anything goes really bad. But I mean, if you're kind of like head of the family type of deal, you're the oldest male in your family or something like that, and you're not prepared, there's no one you can turn your back on, or you can just beg the government like a little baby. You got to be prepared, it's certainly going to cost you relationships if you're not prepared. Like maybe you're dating someone and you're not financially prepared and something goes wrong and all of a sudden she doesn't really have a good reason to stick around. Your finances aren't in a good spot, Well, that's self-explanatory. So what's preparation look like? Like I was saying, the economy collapses, but you have a savings account that's got a year's worth of income in it. So it maybe if you're in a bad spot financially, well, you're good to go for a while. You can ride it out. Or maybe you are in a good spot and you've got the account. Well, now you're in a good spot to invest while everyone's scared. Warren Buffett, he says, buy while everyone's selling, sell while everyone's buying. If everyone's selling like they are right now, you could make a killing in the market. You could triple your money pretty freaking easy. So process mindset. This is similar to goal setting. Nick Saban, I probably botched this quote to be honest, but essentially he said, don't worry about the SEC championship game. Don't worry about the national championship game or even the next game. Worry about the drill you're doing right now and doing it to the best of your ability. So this is a process mindset. If you get caught up in your massive goal, like if you said, I want to have $100 million right now, that's a massive goal and you have no idea how you're going to get there. So you're going to give up. You're not going to be motivated. But if you set the goal of some sort and then you just think, all right, what can I do right now? We talked about this already in the goal setting part, but it was worth repeating. If you take a massive goal and it appears impossible, just get into the present moment and ask yourself the question, what can I do right now to work towards the goal? And suddenly the answers will be a lot more clear and you'll make the steps over time. Plus, it becomes much easier because the thing that kind of makes you in a bad mood when it comes to your goals is the weight of the goal. If you're not thinking about the weight of the goal, you're just thinking about what to do right now. Well, you can do that because you're right now in the moment. So let's say you want to earn 10K a month, but you have no idea how to do it. All right, this would seem like an impossible question until you step back and ask, what can I do in this moment to move closer to my goal? Then the task is going to become effortless, because it's simple. If you don't know what to do it, all right, well, let's research. What can we do? Like let's get clear on what we want. All right, first step. Do I want to do it running a business? Do I want to do it investing? Do I want to do it in a career of some sort, climb the ladder? All right, let's figure all that out. Then let's figure out the next step. Let's say you decide I want to do it in a career. I want to do it in a career, and right now I'm making $3,000 a month. Okay, well, let's get the skills. All right, so what skills do we need to get to the next level? What work can I take on? What responsibilities can I take on that can put me in a leadership position so I can get promoted quicker, get paid quicker, all these different things. And then you can focus in daily tasks. I'm at work today. How can I take a leadership role today? It becomes very easy and just focusing in the moment. And that's all you've got. You can't live a year from now. You got to live right now and take it day by day. So that's the key. And that's how you have a process mindset rather than a goal-oriented mindset. If you have a goal-oriented mindset, you're going to take the moment for granted and you're never going to get to the goal. Process mindset with a goal in mind and you'll get to your goal. It's that simple. Guys, that's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next group coaching call.